Hi, everybody. It's me, Gabrielle, battling bard, Amazon princess, Amazon queen, irritating blonde, and Gabrielle Coniston. Anyway, today's topic is about fair use. Now, apparently, recently, or maybe it's been going on a way more longer, but recently there's been a lot of YouTube partners and maybe even some non-partners getting in trouble, uh, being accused of committing copyright infringement when they are using content under fair use. Now, fair use under the copyright law is the assumption to copyright infringement. Fair use allows people to use a content that's normally copyrighted if the content is being used as either reviewing, criticizing, parroting, or educating. If the content is being used in any of those areas, then it is deemed fair use of the content and is not committing copyright infringement. Now, there are some motion picture companies, television show companies, theater play companies, sporting leagues, professional wrestling promotions, um, video game developers that understand fair use. But then again, there are motion picture companies, television show companies, theater play companies, sporting leagues, professional wrestling promotions, and even music labels, and in some cases, video game developers that don't recognize fair use or challenge fair use or don't care if the content is being used as fair use. These people will go on YouTube. They will file copyright infringement claim with YouTube. Some reviewer basically will just assume that it's violating copyright because they're too lazy to actually look at the video before they make a decision. Now, Gabrielle said, I work for YouTube, but I'm not a copyright infringement. I'm not a copyright reviewer. I'm not even a terms of service reviewer. I am a community guideline reviewer. So my reviewing is different. Now, a lot of partners have either found their monetization privilege of their said video is gone. They either found their Google AdSense account either gone or suspended or terminated. They actually found their accounts were either suspended or terminated. Or they lost their privilege to make longer videos and found themselves going back to making 15-minute videos. They either found their live streaming privilege disabled or deleted altogether, or they actually found that they were unable to upload content to either YouTube either from video file upload or live streaming. Now, and there was no explanation. I mean, these people, they feedbacked YouTube, they emailed them, they went through all the proper things, they even went through counter copyright infringement claims, forms, and then none of it seemed to work. Now, YouTube, even though it is a subsidiary of Google, YouTube technically is free. And since YouTube partnership and the Google AdSense are both free, there's only accountability and no liability. YouTube will figure, since the YouTube partnership is free and the Google AdSense account is free, and since there's no liability, Google figures they don't have to tell anybody nothing when they either lose their monetization, they either get their channels suspended or terminated, they either get their live streaming or their video file upload privileges disabled, or their monetization disabled. And then, funny enough, eventually they'll get all their privileges back. Their 15 minutes goes back to, they get their endless upload privilege, they get their live streaming and video file upload features re-abled, they get their monetization re-abled, they get their Google AdSense account re-abled or whatever. But no explanation to why these partners lost their privileges in the first place. Now, my theory is that there are people on YouTube who do like to commit copy fraud. Copy fraud is when you do not own the content, or when you basically know that the content is fair use. Now, many people are going to say that a lot of people in this day and age basically want to try to control the information. Yes, there are people who don't like criticisms or reviews or parodies or education. That is true. Just because someone doesn't like it doesn't mean you have the right to claim that it's wrong. Now, fair use goes both ways. Fair use protects, popular criticisms and reviews and parodies in education, and also protects unpopular forms of criticism and parodies and reviews in education. Meaning that someone can give a positive review, a positive criticism, a positive parody, or positive education, or they can do a negative review, a negative criticism, a negative parody, or a negative education. Regardless, it's protected. The United States Supreme Court, multiple state Supreme Courts, county courts, and even local magistrative courts have ruled that content is fair use, and that the people filing copyright claims of various video sharing websites and social media websites must actually review the videos to make sure that it's not fair, that it's copyright infringement, or make sure it's fair use before filing claims with said websites. But a lot of people, basically, this privilege gets abused. And it's been abused for years. Now, I've heard talks that the United States Copyright and Trademark Office has been doing negotiation, is going to have a meeting sometime down the road to discuss penalties or fines or other punishments for those who violate or misuse a copyright infringement privilege, or those who flag videos for violating copyright or infringing upon copyright when the videos in question are fair use. For example, me coming on YouTube making this video is technically, well, I could get in trouble too. Now, it seems that the partners seem to be the ones that are more victims of this than the non-partners. That's not to say that a non-partner couldn't get themselves in trouble. Non-partners have also been accused of violating copyright. Non-partners have been accused of using content when it was fair use. So even if you're not a partner and you're still using fair use content, non-partners have also been accused of committing copyright infringement too when it's actually fair use. Now, people like me who choose to use no video, no pictures, no music, and no clips or anything, basically are not using any copyrighted material or fair using the material. So we tend to think we're protected. But the reality is, if YouTube partners who are using content that's fair use, then if they're getting in trouble, what's not stopping a person, a non-partner, from getting in trouble too? Now, some people might argue, and some people might say that the reason that I don't... Hold on, I turn the light back on here. Okay, some people might argue and say that I'm not using content is because I'm afraid. First off, I do not have any programs that allows me to take content and use it. Number two, I don't use content. I don't use pictures or music or anything like that. I don't use anything. Yes, it is true that I don't use anything in my reviews of either motion pictures or television shows. It's just my preference, But people should have the right to use content as long as it's fair use. But some companies like Warner Brothers and Viacom, for example, are guilty. They don't want people to use their content under fair use. Why? I don't know. Apparently, they think that they don't like the state, or for some reason it annoys them, or for some reason it pisses them off that people can use their content under fair use. I don't know why, it just does. They come on YouTube, they see that somebody took their content, using it under fair use, someone was reviewing it, or criticizing, or parroting, or educating, and for some reason it offends them. I don't know why. They act like that fair use is a form of copyright infringement when it's not. Actual copyright infringement is when you upload a full motion picture, television show, music video, video game, audiobook, or in some cases a play. First, without no permission from the owner. Two, making a profit on it. And three, claiming it as your own. Now, people under fair use are not, first off, yes, their videos are being monetized if they happen to have the monetization privilege if they're a partner. Even if they're not, they're still using it to educate or parody or review or criticize the content. So the content is being represented or presented in a different way, different than it normally was being presented. You see, in a review or a criticism or a parody, the reviewer or criticizer or parodist, or in some cases the educator, is using the content to demonstrate or to explain what they're reviewing or what they're criticizing or what they're parodying or what they're educating. So it's not copyright infringement because they're changing things up. You might see a clip of a motion picture, a television show, or play, or video game, or music video, for example, and you might see the reviewer coming on and explaining and reviewing it, or criticizing it, or parodying it, or even educating people on it. So it's very different. And plus, they're changing it up, so the meaning is completely changing. Copyright infringement was there to protect people from having their works pirated without their permission. Fair use gave them leeway to allow people to use content as long as it was being used as a parody or educate or to criticize or to review. Now, I'm not an expert in copyright law or even fair use law, the section of copyright law that is the topic of many videos, both from partners and non-partners, and even people who don't use any content at all. Now, the only way that copyright and fair use it's basically people just don't care. Partners and non-partners that use content are using it in fair use. And yes, if some companies out there, some motion picture, television, and play companies, sporting leagues and wrestling promotions, have to actually take the time to watch the said video to first determine that it's a review, or a criticism, a parody, or education. If it has been deemed to be either a parody, or reviewing, or criticizing, or educating, then they should just leave it alone. Move on. If they have looked at the video and it's deemed that it infringes upon their copyright, then by all means report it. Now, yes, there are some companies, some television shows, and motion picture and play companies, music labels, video game developers, and there's even some sporting leagues and wrestling promotions that respect and understand fair use and allow people to use their content in reviewing or criticizing or parodying or educating purposes. And then there are those who just want to be jerks, do not want to recognize fair use, and want to claim that everybody who's using fair use is committing copyright infringement of their current, past, or future work. Well, actually, it should be past and present, because you can't review or criticize or parody or educate something that isn't around yet. But anyway, that's what I think, and it's pretty sad that fair use is not being taken into consideration when partners and non-partners are being accused of violating or infringing upon copyright, losing privileges that they did not violate, So that's about it. I'm Gabrielle Conniston, Battling Bard, Amazon Queen, Amazon Princess, Irritating Blonde. I hope you see you all later.